So our first myth, that Anna from Indiana goes there.
Correct.
Aloha, it's Katie, and today I'm finally doing a highly requested video with...
Hi, I'm Anna.
From Indiana, and it's so cool because I'm sure a lot of you have also probably watched her videos. I know I did, and she was super helpful to me when I was applying to Cornell. Today, we are going to debunk some Cornell myths. So we asked you guys on our Instagrams to ask us questions or myths you had about Cornell, and today we are going to spill the tea.
Yes.
If you haven't already subscribed to Anna's channel, then you should down below already. What are you guys waiting for? Also, you should follow her socials down below. And if you're new to my channel, that would be cool too. Without further ado, let's debunk some Cornell myths. Lauren Jasper said, fake ivy.
I say no.
Yeah, me too.
It would be weird if you said
yeah.
But so most of where that comes from, I think, is like the phrase that Cornell is easiest to get into and hardest to graduate from among the Ivy League. And I think that's because Cornell's like kind of one of the bigger schools and it has a higher overall acceptance rate. But I would definitely say that the rigor here is not any less than any other school. And what's kind of funny is like Cornell's acceptance rates are super variable depending on your college and your major. And so the overall acceptance rate kind of doesn't mean much here. Like some schools are like closer to 15%, other majors and schools are closer to like 5%. It really varies.
Right, I totally agree. And I think another reason people think Cornell is fake or easier is because it is considered a land-grant university. So some of the colleges like UMac, CALS, and ILR are funded by the New York State to contribute to social development. In that sense, I think they try to accept more people, which lives up to their motto of any person, any study, because they want to try to get as many people as they can, so that does lead to higher acceptance rates. I think it's really noble, honestly, that they really do try to open it up to a lot of people and give other people opportunities. So,
but it's not fake, it's just
it's not. Yeah, and like also people who are like, Cornell's a fake Ivy.
My 2 a.m. eye bag back to Denver.
Why you gotta be that attached to that Ivy League label? Have some pride in yourself. Don't count on an Ivy League label.
Yeah, good point. Gloria She says, architecture students get no sleep. I've heard this a lot.
Me
that
too,
architecture
me too.
students are like hardcore, and also of engineering, which we'll talk about later. So I've been at Cornell for 3.5 years. I'm a senior, and I've only ever met maybe 2 architecture students in my time here. But that's also because like there's just not very many to begin with. But from what I've heard, they do work really hard, and from what I've heard, their projects, there's not a clear end to them. Like they just keep improving and improving. They work and they work on projects rather than like things like exams and stuff. I don't know about getting no sleep, but I've heard they work pretty hard.
I actually have quite a few architecture friends because I know there are a lot of international students, so I met a lot of them during international orientation. And I think they sleep a bit, but every time I ask them for something, like, oh sorry, I'm at the studio working. One of my friends was joking that his sleep would be just blinking. I think you can see them as long as you just coordinate with your archi friends. You'll see them.
Have you ever been to Milstein?
Yeah, I have been a few times.
That's what Milstein is, the architecture studio hall here. Their studios is like glass walls and like stuff. So you can actually see them from the outside when you're like walking on the road. They have like coffee makers and pillows everywhere. It's very much like they live there, but I think they enjoy it. You know, they really like their work.
That's true. Yeah, you'll like see hammocks.
It's cool, but also sad. So. Jana Tolfkhan says, it's hard to find student accommodation after freshman year. So housing is really hard.
Well, I'm still a freshman and she's a senior. Well, that's another reason this would be like a fun collab, so you can get both of our perspectives on it.
So freshman year is obviously really easy. Everyone lives on North. Some dorms are better than others, like Katie's dorm is better. And then sophomore year, I think you're guaranteed housing, but the housing is a little bit more spread out. So I live very, very far from campus. But a lot of people live on West Campus, which is nice. And then after that, there's no guaranteed housing. So it's very different from colleges. Like I think Harvard is guaranteed housing for all 4 years and stuff, but Cornell is a really big school. I think it's like, are there like 14,000 undergrads here? So it's just not super practical to house everyone for 4 years. So starting junior year, I started living in an apartment in College Town, which I think is probably what most juniors and seniors do, and I'm still living in that apartment now as a senior, and it's nice, but it's a little expensive. So I would prefer if we had guaranteed housing for all 4 years.
Official Esther said, weather is hella rough and long winters.
Yeah.
True.
My freshman year and my junior year were not as bad, but my sophomore year We had a big storm. There were like 18 inches of snow.
Oh, was that the snow day? Like when it got canceled?
It was.
Oh.
Yes, we had a few days off of school, which is
Wow.
unheard of. It started snowing at like October, and then it snows until April. So that's pretty long. We pretty much don't have a spring or a fall, except for like a few weeks.
Right, I heard.
For me, like I'm from Indiana, and we have like a typical 4 seasons, so it wasn't that bad. But for you, I'm guessing it was pretty shocking.
Yeah, I think I'm getting used to winter though. It's growing on me a bit.
It's pretty. It's really pretty.
It is.
So just get a lot of layers, get a big coat, and some rain boots and snow boots.
Right, and wake up early.
And wake
you
up
see the
early.
sun more.
Yes, exactly. Ashley Autumn SO3 says seasonal depression. How have you felt?
I felt pretty good. I don't know, maybe because coming into Cornell, I knew what I was getting myself into, so I went in with a really like open and positive attitude, I feel. I haven't experienced it myself, and I thought I would be needing those like Philips blue lights.
Kind of felt similar. Like I personally do like have experience with anxiety and like mental health and whatnot. For me, it really doesn't get that affected by seasons though, but that's just me personally. But I have heard of people like saying it's really groggy to get up in the morning because it's cold and the sun sets early and whatnot. I haven't really heard of it as that prevalent of a problem seasonally.
Yeah, I think some people joke about it, but I don't know how many people actually,
Exactly.
Another cool thing though, I didn't realize, when the sun does shine, it reflects on the snow, so it actually is a new kind of light.
Yeah. It's super bright. I heard you can like get sunburned from like in the winter. Yeah.
Wait.
Because it's super bright.
Right.
Off the snow. So maybe that's comforting.
I'm gonna try tanning like that. Since this is a big one about Cornell, Yelin X Tang said highest suicide rate, and Ashley Alexandra Fan said people died at the gorges.
And Cassidy Trin said there's a suicide bridge with a net underneath.
That's true. In all our bridges, we have like suspension nets. So when you look out, you'll see that because people have tried to jump before, and so they try to do that as a precaution. But recently, highest suicide rate. I don't think we're the highest suicide rate.
What I've heard about it was the reason why Cornell has a myth, I guess, of having a high suicide rate is because many years ago, the Ithaca community, including Cornell students, but also like local townspeople, committed suicide in a very short span of time by jumping off bridges. And the media covered it like super heavily because jumping off a bridge is not super, like you don't hear about that very often, so it's a very publicized event, and a lot of them happen in a short amount of time. But from what I know, Cornell's suicide rate is actually average among the country. Like it's as much as any other college. So maybe you haven't heard any because of you've only been here for one semester. In previous semesters and years, when people do commit suicide, it's a very big deal. It's not a casual thing, it's not glossed over. The entire school gets an email saying who died and kind of the situation that happened, as long as that's public. And we always get kind of a letter about sort of suicide prevention and information about that. It's not like a common thing. It's a very big deal, and it's made to be like very serious here. And so I can see how it might be scary that there's nets under our bridges, but it's really just a precaution because like what if they didn't have those nets, right? So that would be kind of bad too.
But I also find that overall the community is really supportive.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Before coming to Cornell, we had to watch like a gorge safety video because some people go swimming in our gorges. They're really beautiful, but also like if you watch this video or know about gorges, what's underneath is a totally different story. It's very, like you think you can swim in it, but it's actually really harsh currents. So people at Cornell here advise not to go swimming in the gorges to be safe. There are some that you can swim in, but historically it's because there have been some accidents of people swimming where they weren't supposed to be swimming, and there have been deaths, but again, none that I've heard of recently. So there are still a lot of waterfalls you can swim in, and there'll be lifeguards. And it's really pretty though.
Swim in those.
Yeah.
Swim in the legal ones.
Depression and mental health issues among students. Can you describe the hookup culture at Cornell?
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Applying ED increases your chances of getting in. Is Cornell financial aid good? And is Cornell super stressful? Engineering is living hell.
Cults.
Those were all the myths we're debunking today. Thank you so much to Anna for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more in the future. Click the top right eye to watch more of my videos. You can follow me on social media at AlohaKatieX. Subscribe my channel here and my vlog channel here. Make sure to follow her on her socials and subscribe to her channel. I will see you next weekend with another new video. Bye!
Bye!